What is Big Law and what are white shoe firms? I'm here to tell you a little bit about the history, structure, economics, and the business of Big Law.
Don't be a lawyer.
Historically, white shoe firms, a term rooted in the white buck shoes among Ivy League students, referred to elite firms in law, but also finance, consulting, and accounting that serve major corporate clients in the financial world. These firms have long prioritized recruiting top Ivy League graduates, leveraging both their credentials and network to enhance their own prestige and to justify their premium fees.
We're not lawyers, we're investment bankers. We call you for the paperwork.
Much like luxury brands, their exclusivity became their defining marketing tool.
We didn't go to Harvard, we went to Wharton.
They emerged in the late 19th century's economic boom and bust. These firms were initially composed of the Americans' social elites, typically the White Anglo-Saxon Protestants, the WASPs, with substantial family connections and influence. I'm talking old money, the birthplace of white privilege, the boys club, and do you know who my father is? In the legal field, the white shoe firms are Big Law.
4 years working on a pharmaceutical company's merger with another pharmaceutical.
Here you need expertise across multiple legal areas and jurisdictions, where it's vital for handling billion-dollar deals and disputes. One of the Big Law foundational figures, Paul Cravath of Cravath, Swaine Moore, set the industry tone with his Cravath System, or his Cravath model. This model standardizes practices like uniform compensation, rigorous recruitment, hierarchical training, and a competitive promotion track. While effective, this system also has contributed to much of the Big Law's reputation as a misery machine. It's high pressure and intense workloads. But in Big Law, compensation is competitive and it's governed by a lockstep pay scale known as the Cravath Scale, which ensures consistently high salaries, increasing year by year, until eventually and hopefully you make partner. Entry-level associates can start with salaries exceeding 200 grand a year, but this structure is sustained by Big Law's capacity to continually raise hourly rates that they bill their clients to keep pace with rising salaries, inflation, and operating costs. Unlike other pricing models, hourly billing helps firms manage the unpredictability of complex cases and high-stakes corporate transactions. Essentially, they pay over 200 grand plus bonuses to a fresh law school grad to do administrative work, to train them, and inflate up the bill because it would look weird if they charged, like 50 grand an hour for the partner making the actual legal decisions. And plus, they work the junior associates a lot. And they mainly pay them for their availability. It's the furthest thing you could think of from a 9-to-5 job. You're always on call and you're expected to be available. And that's what you're paid for. Now, as a client, the fees in Big Law seem unfair. You're getting billed, $1,000 an hour for a junior associate, a fresh law grad to play around with some PDFs. It could be a lot higher if you just charged by a percentage of the deal like many investment banks or PE firms do. Ultimately, the percentage of the deal ends up being way, way higher than the lawyer fees. For example, an investment bank that typically takes 5 to 7% of the commission on a transaction like IPOs. There's one law firm that does take a percentage though, and it's the top M&A firm, Wachtell.
I was a summer associate in Chicago at Sidley and Austin. Going to Yankees games and eating at fancy restaurants and all that stuff. That won't happen once you're an associate.
Big Law recruitment is also unique, with most firms focusing on only the elite law schools with the highest GPAs, and they go through a formalized on-campus interview program. The emphasis mainly on Big Law is the prestige aspect. and they use it as a branding tool. Look at this lawyer. He's from Harvard. Please. The idea is that presenting associates from Harvard or Yale is the best of the best, but it overlooks things like actual skill and really just focuses on academics and the school name. But it's the only sort of proxy for talent that they have to go off of, because really have not much information about the candidate otherwise. In terms of training, Big Law follows a apprenticeship model where new associates progress through junior, mid-level, and senior ranks, learning primarily on the job. This training is often, sink or swim, high pressure environments, and it puts heavy demands on junior associates to adapt quickly. Many find this experience formative in their early legal careers, but it's widely viewed as intense with overwhelmingly long hours and high expectations.
Being a lawyer is the worst.
Promotion in Big Law is also a very strict and structured process. Traditionally, associates move up each year if they meet billable targets and avoid layoffs, but by the 7th or 8th year, although it's becoming later these days, they have to decide whether to strive for partnership or move on. On this Cravath model, it's known as up or out. In recent years, some firms have shifted this model, retaining senior associates beyond this time frame to continue billing profitably without necessarily advancing them to partner status. And being counsel is like partner adjacent, where you don't really get equity and direct profits from the firm, but you still draw salary and you're still profitable in the eyes of the firm, so they keep you on. Now, despite these adaptations, the Cravath system has entrenched a competitive and often unforgiving work environment that prioritizes performance and the work and profitability over all else.
I want out.
Obviously, this is pretty toxic, and most people leave. Attrition is not a bug, it's a feature. But Big Law is great to get your debt down, get some training, and hopefully not get a drinking problem, but the odds are against you. The concept of Big Law goes beyond New York, like the Magic Circle in London or the Seven Sisters in Toronto. But in the US, debates about what qualifies as Big Law often center around rankings or through compensation. But I think the compensation and the structured advancement is the best measure for what is considered Big Law. The one economic justification for high salaries of these Big Law lawyers is that these firms have specialized expertise and are able to handle the most complex legal cases. They're supposedly the best of the best.
I don't want to implode, sir. No, you don't. I'm in it for the long run,
How much can you earn in Big Law? If you're a rainmaker, you could make millions. There was one reported article where 6 Kirkland and Ellis partners, a very grindy, very big firm, and very unpleasant to work with, earned over $25 million each, which is a pretty good amount of money. Now you have to ask yourself, is a $25 million salary a reflection of exceptional legal skill, or are they just being positioned in an era of, corporate expansion and substantial legal budgets? To some, Big Law represents the peak of the legal profession, but to others it may simply be just a matter of timing, being at the right place at the right time during a period where corporations are willing to invest heavily in this particular sort of legal expertise. For me, it's just a paycheck, the bi-weekly direct deposit, nothing more.
Boo, you whore.